Hi, welcome back to my channel and my series of build diaries for Ruby Rose from the show RWBY. So in this edition of my Ruby Rose build diary, I will be going over how I made her arm bracers as well as the belt that holds the dust casings or bullets in them. I always try and get a Funko Pop figure of whatever cosplay I might have made or I'm in the process of making, and even though this is a different outfit, I did get this super cute RWBY Funko Pop with her amazing crescent rose weapon, which I hope to make someday. To start off with her bracers, I made these out of a 2mm foam with a layer of fake leather on top of them. And these are closed with velcro, which you can see here and on this side, and then I used rivets, metal rivets, to show her the closure on them. I mean, I assumed they were something like snaps, but I didn't want an actual functional snap. I would rather do Velcro like this. So I did these little rivets to mimic the look of that. I have learned from past projects from the belt that I did for Katra is that you don't want there to be any of your supportive layer like the foam in the part that overlaps. You want the foam to meet edge to edge, because if you have the foam overlapped like this, then there will be a difference in the height of that material in that place. So what I did was I made the foam just to wrap perfectly around my arm. So here it is with the foam, it's a little thicker, and then the underlap here is thinner. It doesn't have that density of the foam inside because it's just fabric and Velcro. So that way, this side of the Velcro, which does have some foam in it, goes on top of just fabric. So the height difference is not as extreme as if I would have foam on both the underlap and the overlap. I mean, you can still see that this is higher, but it would be even more drastic if I had foam in that underlap part. To keep the Velcro stitching invisible on the bracer from the outside, the underlap, it doesn't matter. So this part, because it will be hidden over with the overlap, I just you know, folded the fabric down and I machine stitched my Velcro right on there. The side that I had to think more about is the overlap. So what I did was, before I glued on the foam, I stitched by machine my Velcro to the flap, and then when I came back and I glued the foam on, then I glued the fabric that was machine stitched on to the foam, and that way there's no stitching on the outside of my bracer because I wanted these to be really clean. That is briefly how I made my RWBY bracers from her version 2 outfit from volumes 4 through 6. I think she wears this. And now let's go on and see how I made her belt. So I've been working on the belt, and I have my foam base here, and then I basted on the red fabric, which is shown, you see a little bit on either side of the center black bit. I just based it just because if I have an opportunity to sew something, I will do that. Just because I don't always trust glue. There are great glues out there, like contact cement is awesome, but not only is sewing faster than that because you have to wait the 20 minutes or so before you can stick it, but this just gives me peace of mind. So because the basting stitches will be covered by the black layer, I went ahead and sewed that. And then today I have been trying to figure out the pattern for the black part because these bullets are along her left hip. So they kind of slot into the black part of the belt. So I can't just cut the same shape of this and expect it to work because there has to be more fabric that wraps around those. So what I did was I got like a long strip of paper, and then I pinned it, or I clipped it with Wonder Clips to the red, and then I would put a bullet underneath here and fold the paper around and clip, and I kept doing that all along until I had as many as I need, which there are 7 on her belt. I expect I might have to fuss with this a little, but that was the way that I got the first try for the black part, which the bullets will slot into. So let's go ahead and see how that works for me. Today I am going back to RWBY's belt. Yesterday I was able to get all of these bullet casings in. Come on, focus. There we go. And this was, I mean, mostly trial and error. I had marked it out on my paper pattern. That was kind of the prototype. And then, you know, things happen. So when I went to sew in the different bullets, you know, I wasn't entirely happy with the angle from the paper pattern, so I adjusted that a little bit, and I had to seam, I don't know if you can see that. Where is it? Here. I had to create a seam because this black fabric piece was so long that it didn't fit on the fabric that I had. So I had to cut it in half and seam it, and I had planned that seam to be exactly where I did one of the stitchings for the bullets, and that didn't happen. But, you know, you can't really see it anyway, so I'm not upset about that. I have decided these bullets that I got are too short, so I am going to try and combine the two of them. So like, you know, cut the top off one and then basically create like an extra long one, glue them together, and then of course I have to spray paint them silver. So we'll see how that goes today as well, and let's keep on going with the build. I wanted to share more about the buckle that I made for the belt, the giant buckle that goes on Ruby's back right hip, and I actually made mine to be functional, but I don't know if I'll use it, you know, like a traditional belt. I think I'm just gonna have it Velcro closed, but this prong can still go through the belt the way it would normally, so it'll look functional. So I did not take video of the process of making this because frankly I had no idea what I was doing, and I was just kind of playing around to see what would happen. And it turned out okay. So I'm gonna try and explain what I did. I had a bunch of scraps of Worbla, and I saw a picture tutorial of something similar a long time ago, so I had this idea in my head already. So I have a bunch of scraps, mostly long strips that I heated up and I squished together, and then I kind of rolled them as much as I could, and then I always do my Worbla shaping on top of parchment paper, because Worbla, when it gets heated up, it's kind of sticky, so it'll pick up any like lint or dust that you have around. So I did it on top of parchment paper. And my parchment paper also has 1-inch squares for bakers who are really precise. So I was able to use those squares to help me outline the size that I wanted for this buckle, which was really helpful. So I heated it up, and then I made my, you know, long strips, and then I heated it again and I shaped it around the squares that were in my parchment paper. I'm sure you could also, you know, draw out a shape that you could follow on parchment paper, or you can mark them out with pins like the original photo tutorial has. So I did my initial shape first, and then I did the prong, which is just a strip, and then it has a tiny little loop. So I was just, you know, basing it off of any average belt that you have and seeing what happened. And then I did the long stick, and I waited for both the prong and the stick, or the center part, to cool completely, because I didn't want these two to stick to one another. And then I slid on the prong, and then I heated just the ends of the center part as well as my main buckle, so I could attach them together. This is the back side. And that's it, really. And because it's so big, I also heated it just very, very slightly, like from far away, because I didn't want it to get tacky. And I just heated it just enough so that I could then use the warmth from my hands as well to kind of curve. Oh, it looks uneven there. To curve the belt. And I'm gonna do it a little more, just so you know it curves with the shape of my back hip instead of being completely straight, and then it'll hold the belt away from me, which I don't want. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I'm gonna sand this a little bit because it is kind of lumpy, but you know what? We all have lumps and bumps, and that's okay. Still beautiful, So I'm not going to stress too much. I'm just going to do a little sanding and then paint it nice and silver and put it on my belt. From painting my buckle for the back of RWBY's belt, and it's definitely not perfect, but you know what, I don't care, and I'm actually enjoying the fact that I don't care, because usually I'm doing things that are live action and I'm really focused on getting it to look as real as possible, as accurate as possible, but more than accuracy, just, you know, I want it to look like a garment that is wearable and functional in real life. Whereas coming from animation, which I think this is the second time I've done it. The first was Catra from She-Ra. You don't really have as much to go off of, so you can use your imagination a little bit, and for me that means not obsessing over perfection of details. And like this guy is kind of lumpy and not perfect in any way, shape, or form, and I love that I don't care for like one of the first times I can remember. So this is perfect for me, and it'll slip right onto the belt like this. I don't have the hole in yet, so I can't put the prong through, but that's my next step, is thread this on, you know, get the hole punched for the prong, put velcro on, and then the belt is done. I still have the bullets to modify and paint, but the actual like wearable belt will be finished, you know, very shortly. So I am really happy with how this is going. And here is the belt all finished up, which I'm really proud of this. I think it turned out great. Like I said, I kind of love that my buckle is not perfect. The Velcro works awesome. This is a wide, heavy-duty Velcro that was gifted to me by a friend. And I mean, her aesthetic with the red and the black is so good, and that silver pops so beautifully. So this piece really got me feeling like the look is coming together. And with that, my next build diary will be for her corset. And that is basically 98% finished. I just have to put the buckle on the top, and I will get that video out to you guys shortly. After that, there's going to be a bit of a delay in the rest of her build. I will have to do her backpack, her straps, and her hood, but I'm gonna put those on hold because I'm switching to a Black Widow build before the movie comes out in early July. So you guys will get a little bit of a switch in my build diaries, but I hope you stick around and see the end of the RWBY build eventually and join along for the fun of the Black Widow one. Thank you all for visiting my channel and watching my build. I hope you learned something. I hope it's interesting. And if so, please give me a like and a follow. I'm hoping to get to 100 subscribers so that I could give myself a custom YouTube URL with my name, The Cosplay Historian. So please follow so that I can do that. That's my goal, my next goal for this channel. And I'll see you next time.